So what is up, you guys? Today I was just messing around with Ableton, and then I kind of made a. I was gonna use a Nexus piano to make this little like piano thing, and then I figured, why am I using Nexus when I can totally probably do it in Sylenth? So I spent a good while with Sylenth, and I kind of figured out a way to get a piano, like a high piano key sound. So again, I'll just solo the sound again so we can hear it. So again, this is all in Sylenth. I'll show you everything I did. So this is a part of a group here that I made. So it's just a couple of other layers and stuff that's gonna come in later. So all that's going on is I just have a high pass, just cutting out those low frequencies. It doesn't make a big difference. Just a little bit of EQ. You don't even have to do this. I'm probably gonna turn this one off myself. But if you want to know what I'm doing with this EQs, I'm just cutting out the 1K range by, let's see, 5 dB, and then just cutting out those lows again, everything beneath 250. So it's pretty much not really EQing. It's just kind of just cutting out the frequencies that will build up a bit. And then I just have some sidechain compression, a generic compressor just to compress my whole group together, and a spectrum for no reason. So that's what I have on the group, and you don't need to do any of that, because if you follow me here on this channel right here, you can see that all we're gonna do here is we're gonna add. So pretty much, if you're just starting on a new session, all you need to copy over is this filter just to cut out the low frequencies, and the sidechain, just if you're gonna be sidechaining this to a kick, which I assume most people would. Anyway, so again here, what's getting me the piano sound is that I'm cutting out certain frequencies with a low pass filter. So I'm cutting everything around 2.71 hertz. So what that does is it gives it that piano sound. So if I turn off this filter, that's what it sounds like in Sylenth by itself, and now with the filter added. So it kind of has that like high filtered piano sound. And then this filter here is just for effect. So if I just go over here and click on this, you can just see that this filter just comes on in the beginning. So this has nothing to do with the overall sound. It's just an effect I added in. And then I have utility just to make it a little bit wider, and just to get it out in the stereo image a little further. So that's all I did there. Now let's go into Sylenth. So this wasn't too hard to make, and it's just a combination of the right things to give it that piano sound. So yeah, if you play in lower octaves, it starts to sound a little bit more like a pluck. It really just sounds like a piano if you go really high up. So I guess now that I have this piano preset that I made, I don't have to use those Nexus pianos, because honestly, they're a bit overrated and everyone uses them. So I like to always try something different. So let me show you kind of where I'm playing this at in my MIDI first. So I'm playing this around the 4th octave, so around F4 and such, and you can see I'm playing just like a G major, I think, right? Is that G major? Yeah. Looks like it. So again, let's go into Sylenth. So for our first oscillator, also make sure that you bring up the polyphony to 16 so that you can allow the voicing to play as many notes and whatever and blah blah blah. Well, it's not really voicing, it's kind of just allowing us to play more keys at once. Anyway, so now oscillator 1, we're going to bring the first octave down, and let me see, we're going to set this to a saw wave, 8 voices, retrigger on. We're going to detune it to 5. Actually, no, we're not. To like around 2.48, around there. I accidentally clicked it up. Yeah, it was around there. It doesn't make too much a difference. It's just a little bit of detunage, just because I prefer it. And Oh my god, I keep clicking on the parameters. Let's see. The phase was 180 degrees, and let's see. That's all for, again, make sure retrigger's on. That's all for oscillator 1. So let's go oscillator 2. Oscillator 2, we're gonna add a what wave is this? This is a Q pulse. So the Q pulse is kind of go right in between the saw, and it's gonna kind of make like a piano hit, sorta. And we're gonna invert that wave. We're gonna add 8 voices retrigger on. We're gonna bring down the fine tuning to 0.08, so negative 0.08. And let's see, I didn't do any phasing or anything like that here, so just take a good look. That's what it should look like by default when you initialize a preset, which again, you guys, at the beginning of any Sylenth tutorial, not even on my channel, just any Sylenth tutorial you ever watch, initiate your preset first so that you get a blank Sylenth. And then let's see, amp envelope. So we're gonna put the attack at 0 all the way down, pretty much. Decay at 4.02. Sustain at fuck. Let's see, can I command Z that? Nope. That was around there. Sustain. Ever since I updated my my OS X to Mavericks, some of my plugins have been a little glitchy. They're all working fine, but they're just now they do different things. So I'm kind of having to. I think sustain was around 7. Anywhere between 6 and 7 is pretty much a good area. It's a good thing I have this saved. So if there's any changes I notice in the video, I'll put it in the comments. But for now, let's just continue on. So release is at 4.53. And then let's go to our filter. So our filter, we're just going to leave it on A. We're going to select a low pass, put it on the 24 dB slope. And we're going to put drive to 5.33, reso at 1.24, and our cutoff at 132.92 hertz. And we can do our main filter right now. So our main filter is at 2.04 hertz. Our reso is at 1.57, and our key track, I think, is just all the way down. Warm drive on, just, makes it nice and warm and blah blah blah. Then let's see. Okay, so we can move on to part B now. And for part B, we're going to bring our first oscillator up 1 octave. We're going to set the fine tuning. We're going to bring that up to 0.10. Again, it totally bugs me that every time I touch a parameter now, it moves slightly. That's my biggest pet peeve about updating my operating software. But yeah. Anyway, so then we're going to invert it. We're going to set the wave to pulse. 8 voices. Retrig is on. And the volume we're going to bring down just a bit. So we're going to bring that down to 5.48. Phase, detune, all that stuff's pretty much where it is by default. Then we're going to go over here. So our attack is all is at 0.06. So that kind of delays the attack differently from the part A. So it's going to kind of blend in to make this like attack that sounds more like a piano. So we're going to do that. Then our decay is at 2.82. Sustain at 2.30, 30 pretty much. I kind of sit up far away from my screen, so I kind of have to squint my eyes to see those little details. And then release finally at 4.87. And let's see. Then where was I? Let's go to our second oscillator. So bring this up an octave as well. We're going to bring the fine tuning to negative 0.07. This is going to be a saw wave. We're going to set it to 8 voices. And oh my god, did it really move? Can't believe it. Saw wave, yeah. And retriggers on. And our phase and all that stuff is where it is by default. Volume all the way up. I did have a high pass filter on this earlier. No, it wasn't a high pass. I had a low pass. So this is what I had going on before. Now if I turn off this filter. Okay, hold on. Give me a sec. If I turn off this filter. this was the sound I had earlier before I used an external filter. But if you kind of bring it down further, it just doesn't give us the same kind of filtering power that we need. So if you want to use this filter and set it like this, these would be your settings. But if not, don't use this filter, and then use an outside filter and cut it around, 3K around there. And let's see, so that's pretty much everything there. Now let's do I just turned on the compressor. I didn't even look at it. I just turned it on. Then for the reverb, I brought the pre-delay all the way to 200 milliseconds. Dry wet is at 38%. And I don't think I touched anything else. So if you need to pause and just kind of get a rough look at this, go ahead. I'm going to move on to delay now. So for my delays, I set the left side to 1/8, the right side to 1/4. I added on a low cut at around 500 hertz. Ping pong delay still on. I brought the dry wet to 24% and feedback to 50%. And let me see, what else did I do? I think that's it. I noticed that A went up a little bit higher than part B. They can be the same volume. I don't know why it went back to a little higher. I think I accidentally set a macro on my keyboard for it. Like I said, my operating software is OS X Mavericks, so that's like OS X 9.1, and it's I'm still getting used to it because it's made some different changes. It's not affecting me too bad, but whatever. And you probably noticed that I set velocity to the pitch A and B. I have those off right now, but earlier I had A on. I think it was probably 0.10, and then part B on negative 0.19 or 10, something like that. What I was just doing that because I was going to make a variation of this patch to be a detuned piano, because sometimes I like to go for the detuned sound, but I didn't do that this time. So yeah, if you play this really high on your keyboard, or kind of lower, so I'm going down 1 octave now. You can kind of see what I'm playing down here on this keyboard. And of course you can play big chords on this. And this is kind of a little extra part. I did add on an arpeggiator, and I thought it was really cool to have it on up, set the velocity to step, and then I put this on 1/8 triplet, and the gate is at 57%. So if you hold down 3 notes, it sounds kind of cool. Let me see. So just playing some random chords, and it sounds pretty cool. So I like that 1/8 triplet feel, but then again 1/16 is pretty cool as well. And again, I'm keeping this in the lower octaves, probably like a G2 around there. So 3 or 4 notes at that. And actually on the preset I leave the arpeggiator on because I like the way it sounds, and I know I can turn it off if I don't want it. So if you don't want that. Anyway, so that's a Sylenth piano. It's kind of my replacement for Nexus pianos, and I might layer it in with maybe some other pianos like Contact pianos or the Giant from Native Instruments, which is also in Contact player. Or I might just leave it that way and maybe layer in more Sylenth piano patches later. So layering does make things sound more real and bigger, and just adds different harmonics, and you got to make sure that the harmonics are at least playing in this lower or higher octaves of what you're playing already. So I use Spectrum to kind of analyze all that. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that, and keep producing, you guys. Just lots of work gets it done, and thanks guys for watching like always.